It's May 2024, it's the 20th of May to be exact, and so far I've earned more money than I've spent bringing in energy from the national grid because of this lovely Welsh sunshine. Let me just show you. I've got a total of 15 solar panels, which all face roughly south. And the panels are guaranteed for 20 or 25 years, I think. Now, I've exported more than I've imported from the national grid. I've got an electric vehicle and I'll run through some of the costs with you. So I've imported about 280 kilowatt hours of electricity, and this has been at night. So this is on an EV tariff with Octopus Energy called Intelligent Octopus Go. I pay 7.5 pence per kilowatt hour off peak, and this includes everything, including the house. Those 280 kilowatt hours have cost me around £21. Now, the clever part's in my garage. The 280 kilowatt hours I brought into the house went into the electric vehicle and into the home battery. This is where the majority of it actually went. So this runs my home like a battery would run a torch in that situation. This runs my house all day on that off-peak rate. That's how I keep my import costs, so my normal electricity I'm getting from the grid, down to £21 so far. But because it is beautiful and sunny, or even if it isn't, it's been a bit mixed bag in May, I've exported to the national grid £47.70 to date. So I've imported 21 quid's worth and I've exported £47.70, making me a credit on my energy bill so far of over 20 odd quid, and there's 10 days to go in May. So when I get my home energy bill, hi Frankie, I won't actually owe them any money for my electricity, they'll owe me. The home battery that runs my home has got a 12-year warranty on it, and the solar I think is either 20 or 25 years, and the inverter, so that's the little box that brings the energy off the roof and converts it to usable energy in the home, that's guaranteed for 20 years as well. I extended the warranty for about 100 quid. So I've got a good 20 years after my install with a guarantee. The battery's 12, but the rest of it is 20. I'm sure the actual solar panels are 25, but I would expect the solar panels to actually keep working for at least 30 from what I've read. My setup in my home is slightly different, so I went for a really big battery. It's a 13.5 kilowatt hour battery, so it can hold quite a lot of electricity. And if there's a power cut like there was last night, what's that dog doing? Instead of my house alarm going off or the energy going off in the house will keep running off lovely Welsh sunshine. So for my install, an install like mine would cost you between, I would say, about £15,500 and £17,000. But that's going for the biggest battery, the one that gives you, same as the Tesla Powerwall, the ability to go off grid. There's an earth rod down the side of my house, so I could be completely isolated from the national grid. Now, most people don't actually want that. What they actually want is just a battery that runs the house off sunshine, or where they store their sunshine and they can charge their battery at an off-peak rate. But I worry about the zombie apocalypse, so I wanted the ability that if there was a zombie apocalypse, even though the zombies would come and get my house, I wanted something where I could still charge my electric vehicle and run my home in case of a complete outage, and that's why I've got this extra stuff, the gateway, the same as a lot of people know the Tesla Powerwall. Mine's from a company called GivEnergy in my house. So that's what all those cables are along the side. Let me just show you. Gone off on a tangent slightly, but it's worth mentioning. So all of these cables would normally be buried outside, but on install day I didn't want them digging up the front, and I don't use this side area. It's just for my bins. The cabling is coming from this gateway, which will power the house if there's a complete outage, zombie apocalypse, etc. That top cable there is coming from the solar. The rest are coming from the gateway. That's the ability to run the house off the battery, completely separate from the grid. And it comes down here, this is where they all lead to, where my wheelbarrow is, to this little stop point, which is basically an earth rod. It's a long rod, I think it's about 3 foot long from what I can remember seeing of it, that goes down into the ground that allows to continue using the battery in case of a complete power outage. Now, most people, what they would actually want is a battery, the inverter, which converts the energy from the roof, and possibly, this is where the cost would be cheaper, maybe a plug coming off it. You can have a socket coming off it. In case of a power cut, then you could plug something in, run an extension to your house, and maybe continue to run the fridge off it. Or they might have a little box up on the wall where you switch over and allow it to run some of the circuits in your house, like emergency ones, like your lighting and your fridge. But with this, as long as I got enough energy in it, it can run the entire house. And this is a maximum of a 6 kilowatt battery, and my inverter is limited to 4. So the amount of, I know this gets complicated, the amount of energy I can take off the roof is 4 kilowatts. For some reason, the National Grid, who are the company, they call the DNO, the company that looks after my cables, didn't particularly want me to have this battery. They were concerned because it can run the house in case of a power cut. And they wanted to make sure that if there's a power cut, this wasn't sending any energy to the National Grid. So we had this sort of compromise, which I'm happy on. If there's a zombie apocalypse, please do not come to my house. I will need some kind of barricade to keep people out, so I can run my electric vehicle potentially off the home battery as long as there's sunshine, in case the world suddenly comes to an end. There we go.